Today on Locked On Rockies, in a battle of top prospects, neither really dominate. The Rockies offense led by Ryan McMahon scores, but what's that old saying, Rockies fans? Walks will haunt.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 8th day of May in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that is what we do around here, is talk about Rockies baseball free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If you are a fan, head on over to the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, like so many of you have. We have had some great comments. We have a really good couple of comments from Christopher that we'll talk about here in a little bit as well, looking into kind of chewing on some of the numbers I said. I love when the viewers kind of give some follow-ups and dive a little bit deeper into our topic, so we can get some more context and some more information about our conversation about the Tigers earlier. But I think the big story here of yesterday was, I mean, listen, a loss in which you open up a 3-0 lead early is really a bummer and frustrating. Absolutely. Especially when the Rockies were going on pace for the first 4 innings of the game, scoring, getting shut out the rest of it, and then eventually losing in extra innings. That is a frustrating loss. It stinks. It's really annoying. The Rockies had the lead, and the big problem was Chase Dollander not sharp really. With some stuff, I mean, there was some nasty pitches he threw. I mean, there was a couple of breaking stuff that he got for some strikeouts. Actually, I'm sorry. I thought he got for some strikeouts, but did not get the strikeouts, because he finished the day with no punch outs there. The rest of the bullpen doing the job there when it comes to strikeouts. The bullpen picking up 6 strikeouts there. But unfortunately, a couple of walks and a couple of things that are sticking the craw. But all 6 earned runs for the Tigers given to Dollander. I'm actually going through the box score. Why weren't there any more earned runs given to anybody else? That's interesting, considering the Rockies lost 8-6. Interesting that the box score doesn't have it, but probably with Agnos, that's where they would go. The two earned there. In the 10th inning. So of course that's a bummer. It's disappointing, and that's a game that you could and really should win. I mean, if you open up and you can get a lead like the Rockies did, you should be able to hold it. But when you give teams opportunities, when you give teams a chance to go, and it's started by a walk and then a hit by a pitch and then a walk, and when you're setting yourself up for trouble, and you bring up professional hitters even no matter what you say about the struggles, but like Javi Baez, it's a veteran guy that can do, even amidst the struggles, still at its core, can do damage, and came up huge for the Tigers in yesterday's game as well. So let's talk about the differences, though, the positives from yesterday's game, because again, it's a shame that they lost. It's really a game that they shouldn't have. Walks, all that stuff. But at least on the bright side, we started seeing arguably one of the best offensive performances from the Rockies all season long. This was a moment in which a lot of people got involved on the scoreboard, or in the box score there, headlined by 2 guys that the Rockies desperately need to get going. Ryan McMahon and Michael Toglia finally are, acting as if they are the battery power that should be in the middle of the lineup. Now, it's got to be consistent. Now, it's got to be brought back. But we're starting to see a little bit more here, and we might start to see a little bit more from Ryan McMahon here coming up as well. One of the good storylines from the broadcast that I heard last night as well, still a high strikeout rate, but Michael Toglia, I believe in his last, I can't remember what they said, last good stretch of games, has cut his strikeout rate in half. Still hovering around 25%, but better than 50%, certainly. But and let's see, I got some, I'm trying to find some more information about the okay. Here's Tolia's home road splits right now. This is from Thomas Harding's Tolia's big game feeds into some savage splits. Wonder what we're going to talk about here. His 3-for-4 performance Wednesday puts his home slash line at 339, 575, 593 with 3 of his 4 homers. On the road, he's at 0.97, 176, 161. Before coming up empty in San Francisco, Tolia hit 348, 8 for 23 with 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and 7 RBI on the Rockies' previous homestand. It's funny how that works, Tolia said. I felt great coming out of the homestand, then went to San Francisco, went 0 for the series, came back here and got 3 hits in my first game without changing anything. So that's how the game goes, and you've got to be willing to ride those out. There are 5 more games in the homestand, starting with a doubleheader today. That means more chances for Tolia to use a hitter-friendly ballpark that he's starting to take advantage of and build on overall numbers. 215 batting average, 15 RBI, that are not what the Rockies expect of a player whom they expect to be in the middle of the lineup that help fuel the future clubs. You know, again, though, we hear that, but it's like, well, you keep putting them there. And I guess it's try and try again as they keep, just putting people in the situations and hoping they win, just like the Ryan McMahon type of situation. But we know that's not what the Rockies hope for, but it's also kind of the stuff that the Rockies have built. So here's my main, if the Rockies can get these guys going, things will improve. There's a good chance they still lose games like last night. There's still a great chance that it continues to be nothing but a huge slog for the rest of the season. But there's no doubt about it that the Rockies desperately need these guys to maintain this and keep it going here. Ryan McMahon blasting an early home run to dead center field is exactly the type of a tone setter the Rockies need to start building momentum. It's going to take. We talked. This isn't the first time we talked. They got to get to the complete game, right? And unfortunately, they're still kind of piecing things together. Yesterday, they had the offense and the defense was playing good. They were getting a little more aggressive on the base pass. They were they were being successful there. But the walks over there, the pitching side, it'll take a full, complete game to really start and to do it consistently, time and time again, to start putting this team off on the right foot. But when you're looking at monster games from Ryan McMahon and Michael Toglia, that's huge. Mixed with the fact that, even in there, Hunter Goodman still picks up a hit there. Still can, not as many multi-hit games for Goody, and a lot of opportunities we'd like to see him do more with as the Rockies continue to figure out what to do with the 3, 4, 5 spot in their lineup. But we saw a couple of hits from Moniak. Trejo got one. Brenton Doyle, snapped a streak there as well. Drove in an RBI. Jordan Beck picked up a couple of hits there. There's starting to be a couple of sparks here with some stuff on the Rockies, especially offensively. Every home game matters, especially more. We just highlighted how the different splits there. When you have these opportunities, you got to start winning these Coors Field games. And yesterday can be classified as a Coors Field game. Rockies open up the lead, 3-0 there. Then the Tigers come back and tie it up. Then the Rockies respond with a crooked number, and then the Tigers respond right back there. That's why it can flip on you like that, and the momentum and everything just switches so quickly that it was just a bummer to see, because this was a good. I mean, when you're talking about frustrating losses for the Rockies, and this one is certainly can rank as a frustrating loss. At least we were watching the Rockies yesterday be a competitive team throughout that. Hey, got ahead early, took one off the chin, bounced back. The Tigers bounced back, but then the Rockies are able to score and tie the game up there before eventually falling in extra innings, where it was scoreless between both teams from the 5th into the 10th. As much as it stunk to watch the Rockies let that lead slip away and not be able to capitalize on it, at least the Rockies were playing a competitive game and felt like they were in it up until the end. Instead of where getting down early, striking out a bunch, getting blown away, it wasn't necessarily the case for the Rockies. Now, the Rockies still struck out 8 times yesterday. Still something that they're going to be doing 8 to 10 times a game is probably the norm at with this roster. But home runs, big hits, timely hits, clutch hitting, base running aggression. I mean, Beck got nab stealing as well, but there does seem to be a little bit more energy to this roster. And I think I think the 2 days off is something that also is a benefit as well for the team. When you're thinking about how many games they played to start the season, how little rest they had, got that extra day off to kind of sharpen things. Maybe not so good for Chase, because I say here on our little overlay here, the top prospects falter. It's not just Chase Dollander that I'm talking about here after his 3 innings of work. Both young guys yesterday did not live up to the billing that we were hoping for there. Chase Dollander, 3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 6 earned on 3 walks and 0 strikeouts, which is unfortunate. That's the follow-up from arguably one of his better, if not his best start the last time he was on the bump. On the other side, Jackson Jobe only goes 3 2/3 innings, allowing 8 hits, 6 earned, a walk, and 2 strikeouts there. The big damage, like we said, with the Rockies, could hit home runs off that guy. That was the one when you're looking at the start for Jobe. Home runs were a weak spot for him, and the Rockies tagged him for 2, and 2 bombs as well. I mean, Tolia hits the foul pole, but Rymack sending that thing to dead center. Again, it's trying to find the small victories amidst another loss. It's now another loss because the Rockies are going to be approaching their 30th loss before they've gotten their 10th win. Massive problem, certainly, but overall in the grand scheme of losses and things like that one the least frustrating, at least for me. Even with the blown lead. I mean, because again, it stinks to have a 3-run lead and it just evaporates in the first third of the game. But if it's the stepping stone to getting 2 key pieces to the Rockies offense back in action, then growth we will take. I want to read a comment from the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section, actually a couple ones here for the next segment, kind of talk a little bit about that. And we'll also get ready for a doubleheader today. Yeah, buddy, double the rocks, double the fun today. We'll talk about that and more coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're into plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order at supplyhouse.com. We are also brought to you by FanDuel. NBA playoffs are in full swing. I know. Just don't worry about it. We don't worry about it yesterday. Just, it was an off day for our boys on the hardwood. But that's all right. Not going to worry too much about it. Every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Maybe you want to try a single-game parlay that's Jokic triple-double, for example. Jokic points, rebounds, and assists. Maybe you're, for some reason, betting on Oklahoma City, and you want to bet on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for his free throws or assists as well. You can see it all for yourself. Get in on the live betting action, the same game parlays, and all the good stuff when you check out FanDuel. New to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets. Yes, that's right, $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Locked On Rockies back with you here, rocking and rolling through this episode, this May the 8th episode. We've now doubled the force day. So let's take a look here. I wanted to read a couple of a big comments here from Christopher. He had a couple of big comments here, and this is the type of stuff I like when fans dive in, when they're letting me know here. Here's what he says here. Enjoy the show, but I think you're engaging in a little historical revisionism. Last July 4th, the Tigers were 39-48, 16 games back of the Guardian. They were going the wrong way and sold at the deadline. But then guys who you didn't expect to get hot got hot. They've been riding the high since. But lots of Tigers fans, I have one in my friend group, were griping almost as bad as we are. Look, hitting to Tarek Screwball was big, and an ace makes the world better. But like the Rocks, they have had an awful contract making their lineup awful. But this season, suddenly, Javi Baez isn't a total suck. He's not Bryant bad with injuries, but it's been bad. And Spencer Torkelson was a disaster, and now he's suddenly figured it out. There has to be some hope there, right? Maybe the kids will figure it out eventually. And I think that's a great point there, too, where we were talking about the Tigers, and I was being like, hey, look at this. And they were bouncing back, and they've had these winning seasons, and it wasn't so bad. But it is a good reminder, I think, there that you bring up there, Christopher, about this was a team that last year was kind of, I think definitely at a crossroads, where it was like, you sell and you see what happens, which they did. But you also kind of have to, see what you got and make the most out of it. And when you have great pitching, that's going to lead to some stuff that's going to build and beef you up. And there was always a little aura around the Tigers as well last year, because the year before they were they were starting to raise some eyebrows. Not like a team that was like, whoa, they just missed the playoffs or anything like that, but starting to kind of piece things together. But I think your point there about hoping that it pays off and giving the people the opportunities as well, and that they're going to figure it out. Certainly, the one thing that, as frustrated as we have been with the performance of some young guys, there's still guys that don't have a ton of major league experience. Why I've been so on the Ryan McMahon, why have I been so laser focused on Ryan McMahon is because that guy's a long-time vet. This is a guy that we're supposed to be looking to in a different way, and is supposed to be contributing in a different way. But when my overall panic levels about some of the young Colorado Rockies and some of these guys, I'm not overly there, because teams have bad months, right? Teams have bad months, and the Rockies are going through not only a bad month, but a longer than that. The Rockies are now on another 4-game losing streak, could be at 5, depending, another 5-game losing streak could be right on the doorstep for the Rockies this season. It's unacceptable. It absolutely is unacceptable, and the level of play is unacceptable, certainly. But I'm not fully giving up yet on guys. I'm not fully. The profiles and the advanced stats and some of these stuff are painting concerning pictures and concerning trends for guys, but who knows what might happen? I mean, who knows what the full season of Clint Hurdle might do to at least bring something different to some of these guys, and who knows what the future could bring as the Rockies continue to go through this and develop these guys. I do want to still hold on to hope that the Rockies can develop these players into great talents, and you know what? It takes luck too. It really does, and it takes, as much as we want to sit here and focus on Javi Baez, underwhelming overall. That's still a veteran guy that has contributed for that team when he's been on the field. This is a guy that is certainly performing a lot better this year. I mean, it's crazy though. I didn't see a lot, but I didn't know how bad the Javi Baez situation. Curse of though that Cubs team, man, going to other teams. But I'm seeing what people are saying now. The last few years for him have not been kind at all. So this is a massive season for Baez there as well. Christopher had another comment that I wanted to bring up as well. Let's see here. Been chewing on your comments since Monday's show why the Rocks haven't progressed like the Tigers, and I can't help but think the training staff organization-wide is an issue. We had 3 top prospects, Hughes, Cox, and Vargas, all have Tommy John surgery the same week in 2023, and our guys seem to have the worst recovery rate of any team's Tommy John surgeries. That along with Marquez and Senzatella that same year. Then you have Montgomery and Veen, both lose practically whole seasons to upper body injuries. The wrist, I think, really set back Veen's development and may still play a factor on up and in. Some injuries just happen, Beck's being hit by a pitch, for example. But we see more of our top 3 round picks end up with serious injuries, at least it seems that way. It's like that they're cursed, but how much better would these guys be if they had full seasons of minors since 2021? Montgomery still has only had 865 at-bats since drafted July 2021. So what is going on? I'll add that both Veen and Amador still haven't had 600 ABs at AA or above. Then we as fans want to see them, and since there doesn't seem to be a plan, they get here and aren't demoted. I'm angry Amador was on the roster and not playing, but I do think they're very concerned about his confidence after last season's fiasco. But if you're worried, play him in the right spots or get him ABs in Albuquerque. But last year he's had the abdominal after that horrible debut stint, and he didn't recover in performance when he returned. I trust Clint Hurdle as a hitting coach, but he has to know sitting without at-bats teaches you nothing. Well, we know Clint Hurdle wasn't always great at that either. Leaving aside the Bryant mess, this team has way too many injuries to not have someone doing serious work tackling this issue. Yes, playing at altitude doesn't help, and PCL, it's not just Albuquerque, but Salt Lake too. But you have to respond to the issue, not just go, shucks, that's baseball. Because the Rocks haven't drafted poorly, they just have injuries constantly undoing development. Who knows? Nearly a decade later, we may even see Ryan Rolison. Is Dollander the first round pick to make the majors without extensive time on the DL since Tolia? It's just bizarre how many injuries have sidelined development, and given the lack of a Dodgers-like development program, this just sinks them. Final note on biggest hole left, it's not Trevor Story. Ezekiel Tovar has given them 5.4 WAR over 2 seasons, more than any 2 seasons of Story since his monster 6 in 2019. Oh, wait, Tovar's hurt. I sense a pattern. And I don't have a ton of insight into that, but it is very strange. Is it the altitude? Is it the approach? Is it the grind of the season? Is it the heat of the summer? What is it? Is it just pitchers are getting more hurt at a different? I think that there is something to be looking at there, because a lot of people have gotten hurt, and it is pretty crazy to have a lot of arms go down at the same time. But for me, it's like, is that coincidence? Is that bad luck? I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but I know your arm really isn't supposed to move the way it does for pitching. But I think you might be onto something there with kind of focusing and looking at and just seeing how much of an impact those injuries have had, can have, and will have. I mean, like you mentioned, could that Veen injury be something that impacts those pitches and certain things where he's able to get the bat around? How much of an impact does it mean to not have these at bats? And the Amador, the confidence thing. Confidence is a very, very tricky part of the ball game, and that's where it takes a strong clubhouse and strong leadership there to help that confidence and help get through that. I just don't know how much confidence is really flowing through the Rockies locker room right now. But I like those big comments. I like when the deep dives there. That's a lot of thought, a lot of philosophy there. Really appreciate that, Christopher. I wish I had more insight into injury type stuff. I mean, because sometimes it does just seem like bad luck, but could it be more than that? There's so much there. And injuries have been a massive, massive problem for the Rockies this season. And speaking of injuries, before we take a break and move on here, Chris Bryant is opting for a back procedure, and he calls it pretty intense, but not a crazy recovery period. They actually go into the bone and try to kill the nerves to the vertebrae. Oh, my God. That sounds... How that doesn't have a long recovery time. That sounds awful. That sounds so painful. But here's also what Bud Black also has to say. This is also from Thomas Harding. Bryant opts for pretty intense procedure for back pain. There's some things on the health front that are positive, including KB, where he's headed to manager Bud Black, whose MLB worst record can fairly be placed on injuries, especially the mainstays Tovar, second baseman Tyro Estrada, and starting pitcher Austin Gomber. So we'll see what comes from there. All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. Look ahead to the doubleheader today, and we'll talk about that and more coming up next on today's episode of Locked on Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that make this show possible, and that includes Wonderful Pistachios. If you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Now, we all love to crack open into pistachios and the Wonderful Pistachios and hear the sounds and get the smells and feel it all. But maybe you're in a spot where you can't make a mess or you don't want to get crumbs all over your desk. Well, good news. They got the no shells for that grab and go ease. And it's helpful because whether you're running between meetings or dropping off the kids, Wonderful Pistachios are the snack that work as hard as you do. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Wonderful Pistachios. You can learn more at wonderfulpistachios.com. That's wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Locked on Rockies closing things out for today in segment number 3 here. We were talking about big game for Ryan McMahon. Big moment there. Last 7 games for Ryan McMahon, batting .333 with an OBP of .407 and a slugging of .750. He's now got hits at least in his last 3 ball games here. Got 3 walks to 4 strikeouts in that time and a stolen base with 5 RBI. That is the Ryan McMahon we need to continue to see. That is the Ryan McMahon that is going to help pull this Rockies lineup out of the muck and will help them be successful. On the flip side here, the Rockies are in for some trouble when it comes to pitching matchup today. Casey Mize going up for the Rockies here in game number 1, going up against Kyle Freeland. And when you're looking across the board, there are some similarities, but the big difference is the damage being done. Mize is able to minimize it here. But there are a lot of similarities here between the two. The biggest difference maker is in ERA and in hits between these two pitchers here. WHIP as well. ERA of 5.7 for Kyle Freeland and an ERA of 2.7 for Casey Mize. A WHIP for Mize of 1.09 and Kyle Freeland at 1.46. Mize has given up 31 hits. They've both pitched basically the same amount of innings, 36.2 innings for Mize, 36.1 for Freeland. Freeland's allowed 16 more hits here at 47, and I think that's why you're seeing the WHIP and the ERA go up. But interestingly enough here, this will be interesting to see how this plays out. Again, it's matchup dependent. We'll see how the Rockies can handle this in game 1. 28 strikeouts for Kyle Freeland, only 27 for Mize. So certainly still part of the repertoire. Strikeouts still part of the game there, but it hasn't been a dominant strikeout guy that we've seen. And 9 walks this year, more than Kyle Freeland's allowed here. And Mize has allowed 6 home runs. So if the Rockies can, benefit from being at home, he hit the ball far like they did in the game 1, they should be putting themselves in a pretty good position to be successful against Detroit here. But again, the pitching strength is going to be the big, huge part, lead the way type of deal for the Tigers type of in this game. Rockies got to be able to stifle the offense as well, play clean, and make sure limit the walks, limit the damage, and make sure that they play a full, complete game if they want to have some luck here, because we know the pitching is going to be very good for the Tigers in this doubleheader. Folks, that is going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, and we're on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel where you could be part of the show. You could fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. And folks, for your second listen of the day, stay up to date with all things Major League Baseball with Locked On MLB, or head on over to plenty of Colorado sports coverage. Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, Buffs, all free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. Until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.